Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben. Well, this is the second episode in one day. Yes, you are listening right, there is a second episode. This is a bonus little piece just to tell you about a new gardening podcast that I have launched. I've obviously got this one which is doing really well, so I decided to start up a second one. And the second one is called Gardening and Allotment Tips Podcast. So have a search for it on your platforms that you listen to your podcasts on, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, Alexa. Have a listen, find it, Gardening and Allotment Tips Podcast, and you can listen to even more content from me. Now these are just 5-minute little episodes talking about a different tip each day. That's if I manage to record them each day, you may say. But there is about 4 episodes on there already for you to listen to, so have a look for it. Gardening and Allotment Tips Podcast. Now I will post a link in the description for those that are listening on Spotify, so have a look for it. Gardening and Allotment Tips Podcast, and I hope that you all do subscribe to that one, and it does as well as this one. So thanks for listening. Remember to keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben on 2 podcasts now. And if you've got me on Instagram, you'll be able to see those plants which I've planted on my allotment today. I've got them in the ground, and hopefully they will take and they will grow, and while it's wet they should take off in the ground and get rooted, because obviously now is the perfect time to be planting stuff like that. So I'm going to be making regular trips to this local hardware store. I can't mention the names obviously because that would be advertising, but I'm going to go on a regular basis and see if I can get more and more plants that will keep growing back every year for my allotment, because that's what I want to do. And obviously heather will attract the bees when it's in flower and the pollinators, so that's a win-win situation for me. But I have recently got into buying houseplants, and I've mentioned in a couple of episodes recently that I've purchased some houseplants for my flat, because I want to start having plants in the flat to look after, because obviously I don't go down to the allotment at night, so I can't enjoy seeing plants. So I thought, why not bring the plants to me? So that's what I'm going to start doing. I don't know much about houseplants, and I need to start learning more about them. So that's one good excuse for buying houseplants. And today I ended up buying a jade plant, which is also known as a money plant. Whether it will bring me money, I do not know. That's a good question. But it was only 50 pence. And I've also purchased another new plant as well. Let's have a look at the name of that one. Called Spathiphyllum. I can't say these Italian words. But yeah, it certainly does look nice. And it's got some lots of green leaves, and then it's got some white leaves that come out of it. And again, that were 50 pence. So I can't complain at buying bargains, can I? Because what's better than a bargain? And 50p for a plant is definitely a bargain. So again, I'm going to be looking for more and more houseplants for my flat. So once I get them all positioned and sorted, I will be sharing lots of pictures on those, and maybe I'll start doing live tours on Facebook of all my houseplants in my flat, but we will see about that. But obviously houseplants are good for oxygen as well, so it's good for the mental health, and it will make you feel better. That's my excuse anyway, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to growing these. So what else have we been up to on the allotment today on my day off? I've been down where I planted all my bulbs yesterday. they needed some more soil on top of them because I didn't really dig them too deep. So I've laid some old compost, what I had used previously on the tomato plants. I've laid that on top, so obviously it'll add some nutrient back into the soil as well. So when it comes to planting my flowers in it in the summer, it will be better compost and soil for the plants. So I've been using all that compost up. So I don't like to waste it, you see, because you've paid for that compost, or you've made it yourself if you make your own compost. So I don't really want to waste it. So I'm using every opportunity to reuse it, and I've certainly sorted quite a few beds out this year with all the old compost. I've put some in the flower bed in the front of my plot. I've put some where all my raspberry canes are. I've put some all the way down the side where I've planted these bulbs, and hopefully I can fill some more beds up as well with the old compost, because again, I need to make use of it, and I need to improve the soil, because the soil does run out of nutrients eventually. You need to keep feeding that soil and keep adding the nutrients in so that you get good plants, because they just won't grow if you don't have good soil. Well, sometimes they will obviously grow, but they won't grow to the best ability if you don't look after the soil yourself. So that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. So hopefully we will be back down on the plot on Thursday. I'm going to be writing my list of all the jobs that I need to do. Hopefully it won't be raining, because I do want to start clearing all my main plot now. I need to start getting that ready and tidy. If I can get all that done in December, then I can go back to concentrating in my shed and getting all that ready, because come January, February time, I'm going to be starting to look at what seeds I'm going to be growing in my shed, and the more space I've got in my shed, the more seeds that I will be growing. And like every year, I seem to be growing more and more seeds, and now that I've got into growing flowers, I'm certainly going to be growing probably more flowers than seeds and vegetable seeds, because obviously the flower plants fill up all the borders, whereas vegetables you space them out quite well. So I'm going to be growing more and more flowers on the allotment, and I need to start looking and making a list of all the flowers that I want to try next year. And that's the only problem with the magazines which I purchase, because I get loads and loads and loads of vegetable seeds and herb seeds, but they don't come with any flowers. Now, there is one magazine what has flowers in it, but it doesn't come with many packets of seeds, so it's a shame there's not an actual magazine out there what gives the same amount of seeds packets in these magazines as you do in these ones. Because if I got 10 free packets of flower seeds every month, I'd be laughing. My plot would be absolutely blooming, and trust me, it would. So I've got all that to do, and hopefully this week I'm going to be planting up my sweet pea plants, getting all those potted up, because they've all sprouted. I did share with you how I'd done it the other episodes, where I put all the sweet peas in a plastic box on a piece of kitchen roll. I spray them with water, seal the plastic box back up, and then they all sprout, and you have literally 100% germination rate. It works every single time. I tried this last year and I was amazed by it, so I've done it again this year, and I'm growing even more sweet peas than I did last year this year, ready for next year. So hopefully we'll have a great display of sweet peas down on the allotment, because sweet peas are such a good flower to grow, because you just keep cutting the flowers off and more flowers come, and you can put them in your house, you can put them give them away to friends and family, and they smell absolutely beautiful as well. So whoever you give them to will certainly appreciate all the sweet pea flowers that you give them. So if you've not tried growing sweet peas before, have a go, try my method and let me know how you get on, and hopefully you will get some fantastic sweet peas growing in your house. And yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to that. But I do need to look at what new vegetables and I want to try growing next year. Every year I try something new growing it, and last year I tried this year I tried lots of different squashes. I had some good results from them, so I'm going to try them again the next year, but I need to try something new. So if you've got any suggestions of any vegetables to try growing, let me know. It's always good to hear from my followers, and please do keep sharing my podcast for your followers to listen to as well. If you're listening on Spotify, you can just click share podcast and it will share it to your stories like that. And also thank you to the person that has recently purchased some t-shirts from my shop. If you're looking at getting some allotment t-shirts for Christmas or hoodies, have a look online at my shop. The link is in the description, and you will be able to get them in time for Christmas if you order them this week. So have a look. There's some great funny t-shirts on there for you to have a look at. So have a look at those in the description and get your orders in, and I will send them off to be printed, and they should be with you within 3 to 4 days, working days really. They're usually quite fast. So have a look, get your orders in, and I will send them off. So thank you for listening to today's Gardening with Ben podcast. As always, there's such a great following out there. If you've not listened to my brand new podcast channel, it's not this one, there's another brand new podcast channel with quite a few episodes on there called Gardening and Allotment Tips Podcast. If you search for that in your podcast platform, you'll be able to find that podcast, and hopefully we'll get as many listeners on there as we do on here. And those are just 5-minute short episodes just talking about different gardening and allotment tips. They're not long episodes, it's just talking about one subject at a time. So have a look for it, subscribe to it, and enjoy it as well. So as always, thank you for listening. Remember to keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben podcasts. Until next time, see you later. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.